Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Our concluding moments with Arome Salifu, who is the National Coordinator, Professionals and Business Groups of the People's Democratic Party. Well, let's get back to this, some of the issues raised just after the handover of PHCN to successor companies. Well, we were talking about some of those points, but the thing is, I mean, I said last week, Friday, I haven't checked because I don't know if you saw the advert in the papers about some of these companies and their new offices. Now, you've got people who have gone to those offices, the addresses that was put on, advertised by them. As of last week, I mean, these offices were still under lock and key. And then you have lots of, there's a vacuum. People want information. For instance, now today, it's been announced that there will be 400 megawatts drop in power generation, and there'll be blackout from today up to Saturday. So, you know, people keep asking. It looks as though it's still a little hazy out there. How do you see us or the companies that have taken over now navigating their way out of all of this so that people will not be apprehensive at all?
Yeah, thank you, Chamberlain. I think really it's too early to make conclusions on whether or not the new owners are ready and willing to carry out their obligations. We need to give them time to actually settle down. We are talking about taking over an entire sector on the 1st of November. And Friday was the last working day of last week. Today is Monday. I mean, we need to give them time to actually put in place their own processes, systems, and procedures that will equally guarantee their own effectiveness and efficiency as a company. So I think it's a little bit in a hurry.
And what people are thinking. So are you saying then that while we give them the time to settle down, we should be in blackout?
No, not at all. Not at all. You see, the truth is, you cannot rule out, sabotage here and there. Really? This is a major, change in the power sector. There are a lot of forces in the power sector, my dear. We have the generator importers in this country. That is a multi-billion naira sector alone, importing generators into this country. And these guys, they are more than, they have enough resources to sabotage the entire process.
Are you sure you're not accusing them wrongly, Salifu? Are you not accusing them wrongly? Some of them will tell you, look, we're legitimate businessmen. And by the way, who says if there's stable electricity that we will be out of business?
You see, this is not news. This is not news. Neither is it new to us. The truth is, this scenario is obvious before all of us as Nigerians. The reason why the power sector reform has not been able to work over the years is because of the activities of these generator importers.
Really?
There's no getting about
that. I thought if truly we had steady power or stable power supply, well, naturally, the generator importers will just go out of business, isn't it?
Yes, that naturally.
So in other words, we can't just accuse them of sabotaging the whole process when we haven't actually been able to get it right.
He is talking about having a reduction in the generation capacity up to about 600 megawatts or so.
400.
And I'm trying to respond to that. 400, okay. So I'm trying to respond to that, that really the truth is we are not saying that, we can rule out the activities of saboteurs in the entire process. And this is just, the truth. What we need to do now is to actually, ensure that all the power generating, transmitting, and distribution lines and stations are well secured by the security agencies. The security agencies ought to be overhauled to actually pay more attention to some of these infrastructures, so that at the end of it all, we'll not just have this effort put in place, and yet some few disgruntled elements
Actually,
will sabotage the entire effort.
It's not sabotage, it's maintenance work going on. So I was just trying to find out, look, how do we get to that stage where while they're maintaining, say, a certain gas plant, the country doesn't stay in darkness for a week or more. So it wasn't sabotage, the reason they gave. That's just...
Yeah, yes, I understand that. I understand that. Even while the maintenance activities are equally going on, you cannot equally rule out the activities of saboteurs. We know very well that the maintenance activities are purely routine activities that, come up once in a while. And so it's not something that we should be restless about. It's done all over the world. In the US, in the UK, routine maintenance are often carried out. And, the customers are always pre-informed that this is what is about to happen, so that they don't, mistake it for something else.
Mr. Salifo,
and I think...
just a moment.
Concerning...
If I may cut in there, do you think that, the new owners should be more out there? I mean, they should make their presence more felt to the Nigerian public, because a host of people are wondering, who are these new owners? How can we begin to relate with them? They cannot wait to actually lay their complaints at their table.
Okay, the new owners are not spirits, they are corporate organizations, and they have actually taken over the existing offices of PHCN. So if you actually want to get across to these people, I think the first place to go to is the existing offices of Power Holding Company of Nigeria. And from there, if they have any extension, if they have any expansion as a result of investment in their organization and so on, then they'll be able to direct you accordingly. If you want to actually find out where they exist or where they are and so on, you simply go to any of the closest PHCN office in your neighborhood, and you get concrete feedback as regards where these people, are currently. Because they are not spirits, they are corporate organizations. They are bound to have their offices all across the country, and of course, this is a new era of service delivery. They are going to be guided by service delivery and so on. So they are not going to simply rest, on their oars as regards providing stable electricity, for Nigerians.
But,
so really, the expectation is high.
Do you see Nigerians in a bind then? I mean, because right now you're saying we should go to the PHCN offices, and the workers there are not certain if the new owners are going to keep them. Their commitment to work, a host of people are saying that it could be questionable at this particular point. What could maybe ordinarily take a day to fix might take longer, only and simply because the worker is not sure of his or her own, security of his or her job. Don't you see the Nigerian who's going to be getting service from this particular source in a bind?
Yeah. The truth is this. Processes and procedures have been put in place to guarantee smooth transition. To guarantee smooth transition from the public sector ownership to the private sector ownership of the entire PHCN. The PHCN that we used to know is no longer in existence. It has been unbundled. And the truth is this. The fact that the PHCN has been unbundled does not mean that the staff, that used to be in those offices will fizzle out, automatically. No, there's going to be a transition period, when the key staff of these offices are going to probably hand over to the new incoming staff, and even some of the old staff are going to be retained. Definitely, some of the old staff are going to be retained, but that is still going to be at the discretion of the new investors, because retaining this staff purely going to be on the basis of competence, on the basis of capacity, on the basis of experience, on the basis of demand, and so on. So it's a different ball game. As a private investor, you wouldn't want to just have a staff because you just want to have the staff. You must have the staff on the basis of your needfulness of that staff. And I think that is the bottom line.
Very quickly, before we wrap this up, Mr.
process. Sorry?
Quickly here, have we been able to break the monopoly in this sector?
Of course, I would say yes. I would say yes because one of the fundamental reasons for privatizing, the power sector is to guarantee competitiveness. So the issue of monopoly is not going to exist, as it were, because really we have 9 power generating stations in this country, and they have all been privatized to different companies. So if company A is not doing as good as company B, the likelihood is this, that some customers will naturally want to demand for the service of the company B that is doing so well, and there's nothing anyone can do about it, if that is the case, because at that point the customer is the king. So the monopoly scenario that we've been experiencing over the years is going to be a complete history.
All right, Arome, we have to let it go at this point. Arome Salifu, National Coordinator, Professionals and Business Groups of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you for speaking with us today on Sunrise Daily.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chamberlain.
Okay, then. So basically what the kind of messages coming through on Twitter out there is just that, lots of people here say, and rightly so too, that the investments in the power sector is not the same as that of the telecom sector, because you have generation, you have to invest in generation, distribution, and transmission. And then there are lots of questions that, look, you need to interface with the people, the new owners, because what if an old member or staff of the then PHCN comes and says, well, pay to us, we're still here in the meantime while they are not. How do you bridge and sort that challenge out? So they need to take the next step. Well, just keep your comments and questions coming through. We appreciate all of them. But give us a moment. We'll be back.